Get ready for an unfiltered and uncensored listening experience.
Gender reveal.
Naisip ko, ako yung tipo ng tao na pag dumating ako sa puntong sagot na sagot na talaga.
Benta niya 90 million. Where can you find that?
Don. God
Where can you
damn.
find that?
Hello, I'm back. And we are live. We have Raya here in the podcast.
Hello.
Thank you so much
Hello.
for coming.
Thank
And
you for having me, Nick.
and excited ako sa podcast na to kasi first time
Yes.
ko magkaroon ng Filipino na nagstay sa
Okay.
or nag-migrate sa Canada.
Mm-mm.
And
Yes.
I know we have a lot of Filipinos dyan sa Canada and I
Yes.
really hope na someday dyan din ako.
Yes. Actually, like, I think it's the new Filipino dream.
I
Dati,
think,
yeah, we we look to go to the United States. Now, I think it's more everyone wanting to go to Canada. Kasi
mm-mm.
free healthcare.
Yung sa akin po kasi, sa side,
Yes.
karamihan po kasi, nandiyan po yung family ko. Like, from my
Mm.
kuya, from my ate,
Yes.
to my aunt, nandyan.
Yes.
So, nung bata pa ako, sabi ko, try ko nga din.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yes, actually, there's a lot more Filipinos talaga who want to go here.
Oh, wow.
And very, very, I don't know, parang surprised talaga ako because just here, like the town I live in, or I live at, is called Melville. It's one of the small towns here in Saskatchewan, which is the coldest province in
Oh,
Canada
wow.
considered. So, yun, nagugulat ako kasi there's a lot of Filipinos actually here, and I got to know more of the community last Christmas. So no more like pandemic na not
It was just
not
good.
allowed to do gatherings and things like that. So they were all very excited, like, okay, first party for everyone to get together again. And there's a lot of Filipinos here.
Oh,
So I was
wow.
really surprised. And everyone was like, saan kang nagtatago? Parang hindi ka namin nakikita. So I was like telling them, well, I'm used to just staying at home because a big portion of my day is just my online business. So yun. Pero yeah, it's really, I find it very comforting
Mm-hmm.
to see like other Filipinos, because with us, like, we tend to, I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, pero yun nga, like with your own experience, a lot of Filipinos really try to like work in another country. So
Mm-hmm.
malimit na we don't get to know someone who doesn't have like relatives at least, or a family member who lives in a different country. Parang it's natural for us. It's okay. Like,
Yeah,
we can easily adapt to wherever we live. So
true.
yun.
Um,
Mm.
Before we dive in, um,
Yes.
let's introduce Ma'am Raya. Who is Ma'am
Yes.
Raya?
Okay. Well, my name is Raya Karel. So I have been in the fitness industry. So I am actually a online coach. Well, freshly trying to really consider it already. But I began my career long years ago
Mm-hmm.
as an in-person trainer. I work for two very familiar commercial gyms there in the Philippines. So that's where it all began. Bata pa lang ako, I really liked being very active. I was, let's just say, I am one of the children who grew up to know that you have to be very healthy, otherwise you will turn healthy.
Mhm.
Kind of deal, right? So at a very young age, I was very open to the fitness industry. I suppose it was through my mother, because her generation believed in like aerobics and all of that. So I grew up literally seeing like other moms do their workouts. So that's where it all began. So growing up, getting into a lot of different sports. I did taekwondo before, and I was also very blessed to have a mentor who told me like, okay, there's more to it than just being active or just
Mhm.
playing the sport. So that became a very big interest for me. And let's just say there's a lot of ironies in my life,
Mhm.
because I wasn't really wanting to be like a trainer. In the Filipino culture, all of us are like, you're either a doctor, a
I
lawyer,
agree.
like somebody in the corporate industry, right?
Mhm.
So for me, like in my generation, I'm not gonna say, I'm not gonna divulge how old I am, but like I think until now, it's still like a
Yeah.
taboo thing for
Mhm.
you not to be in that range of professions, right? So I was supposed to be a doctor. Let
Mm.
me tell you that. So that was my childhood dream. But let's just say that I'm a firm believer that things that happen in your life happen for a reason.
Mhm.
And I guess there was a turning point in my life where when I graduated from college, I took up sports science. During that time, it was a relatively new um, kind of pre-medical course. Yeah.
Mhm.
So um, during the time, I was telling myself, okay, I will take sports science. I'm interested in it anyway. I'm an athlete. It's practical knowledge for me. So doing training, studying about it, and then it's like, okay, I'm focused to being a doctor. And then of course college happens, you're so burnt out. And
Yeah.
I told my parents, I was like, can you give me at least a year off? Just let me do my thing. And then I fondly remember my mom was saying, you want a break before going to med school? That med school is not gonna happen anymore. It was like her little, premonition, I guess. I don't know. But she was like, okay, fine, we'll let you be. And then of course, like any Filipino child, you're like, you want to at least have like a means, a type of income after you graduate from college. So I told myself, okay, I like sports. Maybe I can try out to be a trainer. So one thing led to another. I became a trainer, and goodbye, goodbye med school. Which, like, to me, in all honesty, it I guess it was, like a sign
Mhm.
from God, or I don't know, destiny, I guess. Because to me, I was telling myself, okay, can I imagine, like, sometimes when you're busy, when I'm busy, like doing all my content and all of that, I just smile and tell myself, okay, this is really what I want. Because if I were a doctor, I couldn't really imagine, like, not not at all. So yeah, so that's my little angle, my little story of who I really am. And yeah, so
Ang ganda ng point niyo po na hindi niyo ma-imagine yung
yeah.
life niyo kapag nag-doctor ka.
Mm-mm.
Kasi karamihan talaga ng Filipino ganyan. Karamihan ng tao ganyan.
Yeah.
Like, kung gusto mo talaga yung ginagawa mo, hindi
Mm-mm.
mo ma-imagine yung sarili mo. Like,
Yes.
for example, may mga doctors or may mga engineers na
Mm.
nai-imagine yung buhay nila sa ibang
Yes.
ibang passion, sa ibang
Mhm.
careers. Pero
Yes.
sa mga taong nandoon na sa career na gusto nila, hindi na nila imagine outside with that. So
Yes.
sobrang ganda nun. So paano po yung path nyo papuntang Canada? Or
Mm.
anong turning point na nag-decide ka na, okay, pupunta ako sa Canada?
Turning point for me to move here. Honestly, like kaka-post ko lang actually
Mhm.
like the other nung isang araw ng content about it kung bakit ako nandito.
Mhm.
And to tell you frankly, like medyo senti pa ako. I was very sentimental when I was writing it because you know, I was never someone who like pag kinausap mo yung family ko, my friends, I was never someone who really wanted to move anywhere else. I was
Hmm.
just like someone, oo. Kasi 'di ba sometimes when you grow up in a Filipino household, there will be people who are like, okay, I accept the fact na I want to work abroad and earn money, better
Mhm.
money than in the Philippines. I was never like that. I actually was part of a batch of fitness trainers na yung mga kabatch ko, they were all like moving out of the Philippines.
Hmm.
Yes. So, but during the time that it was like normal for us in our field to leave the country, I was like, no, I'm staying here. Dito lang ako. I have my family here. I'm stable. You know, I have a happy life. At least, you know, when I'm sad, I can like call a friend and we'll go out, have drinks, whatever, right? So to me, that was like moving here wasn't in the plan. But
Hmm.
let's just say for personal reasons. hashtag relationship
Ah.
hashtag relationship situation. I guess I don't know. Siguro it's I'm guessing it's not just me. It's a lot of other people who kind of got really down during the pandemic. And
True.
I will admit to it. During the time I was like, okay, my passion, my profession is close contact with other people. So
Yeah.
how am I gonna survive this? So it's really sad when the whole you know pandemic happened, businesses shutting down. It's not just our industry that shut down. Other
Mhm.
industries shut down too. But the thing is, like when you're in my profession, it's like earth shattering. Sobrang ah very depressing moments. So
Mm.
I was telling myself, okay, I really have to, focus and see how everything will pan out. You have to have a plan. You have to make sure that like what's the term? Like kasi during the pandemic, it's like you don't really have a lot going on if you're a fitness trainer, unless maybe somebody was willing enough to like, okay, well, exercise, you come visit me in my house, we'll exercise, fine. But of course, in Manila during that time, everyone was so scared.
Mhm.
So I was like, my backup plan was okay, create content. I was starting to share all of that. And then, on the side, of course, my personal life. During that time, my then boyfriend was supposed to visit me in the Philippines.
Mhm.
And we were like kind of planning it out. And so to me, during that time, like travel, no travel at all. So
Mhm.
you know, How are you gonna get to me? How am I gonna get to you? So, wala talaga. So, yun. Ah, ang, ang, like the pan of events going here to Canada, let's just say that one thing led to another. Because to me, I was like, okay, let's try to make sure or try to process it. Like, kasi a lot of other countries during the time, which this was 2021.
Mm-hmm.
So some countries will allow you in, other countries won't. So I was telling myself, okay, if everything pans out or everything that we want to process is a good, it goes well, then okay, let's go through with it. And I don't know. Hashtag blessed, I guess. I don't know. I'm really a firm believer that things that happen in your life will happen in due time.
Agree.
I'm not the type of person who's like, I mean, I'm I have a very strong personality sometimes when I want something real bad.
True.
But the thing is, yeah, I think a lot of Filipinos are like that. But the thing for me was, for me getting here, I was like, okay, there's a pandemic. There's so many different things that are out of my, control. So I was like, okay, if it happens, it happens. And, all the processes, getting a visa, getting a ticket, getting everything arranged, like staying here, having a house to stay at. So everything just panned out. And I was just lucky, I guess. I consider myself lucky. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
Like, ang ganda nung sinabi mo kasi I really do
mm,
believe it too. Lalo na
mhm.
kapag, if for example, gusto natin ng isang bagay, tapos
Yes.
pinurse natin,
Mm.
sometimes it happens but sobrang pangat na experience,
True.
'di ba? Kasi
True.
um I really do believe na, and lately ngayon ko lang siya na-adapt na,
Mm.
let's, if para sa'yo, let
Yes.
the pieces fall into place. Kasi once
Exactly.
na finurse natin siya,
Mm.
pumapangit yung experience, parang
True. True.
nasisira yung nai-imagine mo, na
Yes.
na-experience mo. Your first week or first month diyan sa Canada, how's the experience? Madali ka ba na homesick? Kasi karamihan ng tao ganyan. Like, lalo na,
Yes.
especially for you na hindi mo plinano pumunta sa
Mm.
Canada.
Yes.
Paano yung connection niyo sa family? Mga ganun.
Yes. Um, my first month here, I wouldn't say like, siguro, yun nga, for the lack of term, I'm mas lucky, maswerte.
Mhm.
Because if this happened to me, like, I can't imagine this happening to me, like, maybe at least 5 or 10 years ago with technology. Like, here, now, the two of
Mhm.
us are talking.
Yeah.
Like, it's early morning over there with you. It's late at night over here on my end. So, I was lucky enough that technology worked for the best. And so my first month here, of course I was homesick. Like it would always be syempre sa family mo, they're like,
Mhm.
okay, you call us or you text us or you message us every day. Ah. Okay. So that was me, like maybe the first month. Even with my friends, they were telling me, oh, like always keep in touch because we want to know if you're okay.
Mhm.
Kasi syempre first month, like there was the quarantine pa, two
True.
weeks of quarantine and all of that. And basically like traveling, getting here. So yes, the first month was pretty okay. I guess since, I had my boyfriend, then with me it was fine. But in all essence, it was a relatively smooth transition
Oh,
because I
wow.
think technology for it. So yeah.
But you still do uh trainer? Like, pinapractice mo pa siya?
Yes. Yeah, I was actually still able to teach my classes. Yun lang. Thank you for reminding me. Kasi yun siguro, yeah, like the time zone difference. Siguro yun
Mhm.
yung number one talaga na you'll battle when you move to a different country. Like that's like totally a different time zone.
Mhm.
So, pag baliktad talaga, that's where the difficulty lies. So, but other than that, it was a pretty okay experience.
That's cool.
Now that I'm thinking of it, yeah. Oh, it was pretty good. So, mm.
Nung let's go back. Nung nag-decide ka na mag-take ng sports science.
Okay.
Um, when you were younger, are you
Mm,
really that like passionate sa pag-workout or something just triggered you? The reason I ask kasi
mm,
a lot of people go into things or into the passion kasi may nangyari sa kanila. Like for me,
mm.
sobrang competitive ko, na-introduce sa akin yung basketball. So,
Yes.
in return, dun ko natutunan mag-workout, dun ko natutunan
Mm,
yung mga lifting, that sort of thing. I
yes.
hope, and kasi hindi ko siya nakukontinue ngayon, kaya ang taba ko na eh. Pero, the, po-
Grabe.
the point is, um, ganun, like, so sobrang competitive ko, kaya ako napapasok sa workout. Like, for you,
Mm.
what's your, like, uh, purpose na bakit, okay, parang gusto ko trainer, gusto ko mag-workout, that sort of thing.
Mm. Siguro for me, what would be that's actually a good question. Kasi there's so many factors I think that contributed to me being a
Oh,
trainer.
wow. Mhm.
Taking sports science, like going back to what I told you a while ago, sports science was supposed to be like a pre-med course. Yun nga, during that time, they allowed it as a pre-med course because a lot of the subjects were, you know, can be like considered for med school. So, um, going to or wanting to be a sports scientist was siguro influenced na rin by my coach that time. I was doing taekwondo.
Mhm.
Um, and I got into that because my mom was always telling me like, go do something kasi you're so mataba. So
Same.
that's where it started. So it was like a summer camp kind of
Mhm.
thing. And then I got really interested into martial arts. So not just taekwondo, I also did boxing a while back. So, but anyway, yeah, that's probably where it all began. And then, of course, learning the different training routines, your coach will also include weight training into it. So, sports science, I also had the opportunity to take courses that was like weight training. They were specific per sport. They were
Mm.
Yes. So you're supposed to complete how many units was that? I forgot already. But a good number of units were related to being active, being able to do specific sports. So that was part of sports science. You also had anatomy, physiology, and all the technical stuff as well. So you got a really great balance from both. And during that time, I wasn't really, it sorry for the term, but it was an afterthought that, I was saying like, okay, I need to earn money. So what's the best way for a sports scientist to earn money? And during that time, there were all like these big, commercial gyms
Mhm.
opening. So I was like, okay, I will try to see if some of them will, hire me. One of them did not. So I was like, okay, you guys don't want me. I'll go to the competitor. Dalawa lang yun during the time. I'm sure some Filipinos know which is which. So anyway, yeah. So that's practically where it started, and it also was influenced because during the time that I was almost graduating, so the last semester, I suppose, I kind of got recruited into doing powerlifting
Oh,
because I was a big
wow.
girl that time.
Mm-hmm.
So my heaviest was I was a pretty heavy person. But yeah, so they were saying like, oh, so you're a big lady, so you can probably push a bit of weight. So I did powerlifting. So I think that was also um kind of an influence for me to like really have the courage and the confidence to say like, okay, I know I can be a trainer. So
Okay.
yeah, that's those are probably like the factors that kind of got me or pushed me to the industry. So
Are
yeah.
you are you like more y- yung powerlifting
Mm.
era mo, yung powerlifting career mo,
Mm.
papunta na ba dun sa kay sino ba yun? Si Hidalin ba yun? I'm not
I
sure.
wish. I wish. No, Hidelin is her sport is weightlifting. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's
It's
people
different.
yes,
Oh,
people
okay, my
sometimes
bad. My
mistake
bad.
it's
Yeah.
okay, it's okay. It's okay. Kasi let's just say like powerlifting is more ito na naman ako. For the lack of term, to just explain it a little easier, weightlifting, which is what Hidelin does, is a lot more dynamic, quicker
Mm.
movements. So it's two events. So she does the snatch and the clean and jerk, which
Yung
for
gano'n.
the love of yes,
Okay.
for for the love of God, I cannot like I try to do it. Sometimes you cross train kasi it will also help you increase your strength.
Mhm.
You try to cross train, but sometimes a power lifter who does weight training, we look very weird. Kasi yes, for powerlifting, if you have been familiar with exercises, so powerlifting has three events naman. So we do our squats. So
Mhm.
as heavy as you can. You have three attempts for all the lifts. So we do a squat, a bench press, and a deadlift. So simple lang, di ba? But
Hindi simple
uh,
'yun. I tried, hindi simple 'yun.
no, but I mean, if
Mm.
I compare it with weightlifting,
Mm.
like if you're someone who just wants to begin, I would suggest powerlifting first, and then when you get your base strength, maybe if you're really interested in doing weightlifting, then you can.
Ah, okay. Mhm.
So yeah, um, case in point, malayo ako from
Okay.
from Hidelin. Although I was able to represent the Philippines a
Oh,
couple of
wow.
times um for the national team, but not in like worlds. It was more Asians.
Hmm.
So
How's
yeah.
the experience? Like, ang dami
Ah,
kong nababasang
yes.
articles about diyan na, typical
Mhm.
lack of funds, lack of
Yes.
training, lack of, training expenses, that sort of thing.
Yes.
Kamusta naman experience?
Um well, during the time that I joined, I could easily join because it was done in the Philippines.
Mhm.
So in terms of budget, we were able to have enough budget for the entire Philippine contingent because it was done there in the Philippines. I'm not saying that the support is 100% perfect, but
Mhm.
there is support. It's not zero support at all. Although there are certain criteria that you have to reach first before the government will assist you, but understandable naman. And it's not like for me, like with powerlifting and with teammates that I've had who also competed or who have had the opportunity to compete in worlds. It's not just the Philippines apparently who, like in our sport, it's not just the Philippines who lacks funding. There's
Oh,
also
wow.
other countries who also don't get the support. I guess it depends on the government of the country. I suppose. So there will always be rankings for which sport is more important. But
True.
I mean that's the way it goes. If you're an athlete, if they support, I mean, my perspective, if I'm an athlete, they support, the government supports me, well and good. But if not, if it's really my passion, I will find a way, right?
That is
So
true. Yeah.
yeah.
Also, ang ganda rin siguro
Mm.
nung i-point out 'to. I think
Mm.
dahil din major sports yung basketball. Kaya I
Yes.
think yung dito sa Pilipinas,
Mm.
yung priority is more on basketball. Like mas binabayaran pa nila
Yes.
yung basketball team
Mm.
natin. Um let's break down yung training mo
Yes.
for the Philippines kasi ito yung mga
Mm.
hindi nare-realize ng mga tao, especially Filipinos, na kapag athlete ka, you really
Yes.
have to have this huge or strong discipline para
Yes.
mag-compete to the highest level. So,
Yes.
paano yung training mo dun? Like, or like from the
Mm.
morning hanggang pagtulog mo, paano yung training nun?
Yes. Well, with me, with my experience, kasi during the time that I got the opportunity to compete for the Philippines, I was already working. And
Mm.
I was fortunate enough that I was working at a gym. So, after
Libreng
duty
gym.
time, yes, after duty time, I can train, right? It's either before or after. So that was that was a way that I managed my time. So, of course, the company's gonna question you like, you're supposed to be working. You should work. So, to me, it was like, okay, my coach will give me a program, which was normally like Monday to Friday. And then I had like a couple of days off. So, what I would do is I either train before I work or after I work. So that was pretty much it. And yes, you're correct. Like if you're competing or you're told by your um association, your sports association that okay, you'll represent the country. Of course, you do your best to make sure that you do the training that is expected of you. So yeah, that was pretty much how I managed it. Actually, when I think about it, sometimes I'm like, how did I do it? But
True, di
anyway,
ba?
yeah,
Kasi at that
sometimes
moment,
yeah,
parang may papasok sa isip mo, ang
yes,
hirap. Or
exactly,
if
exactly.
passion mo talaga, um,
Mm,
yung yung term mahirap or hard, para
yes,
siyang um, fatigue na lang, pero nandun pa rin yung passion mo. Nandun pa rin yung
yes,
gusto mo gawin.
yes. Yeah, you're absolutely right with that. Kasi if you're really like for me as an athlete, the the time I spend training, I know in the long run will not just be for myself, it will also be for, the association that I'm competing for. So especially when you're part of the national team, that's I mean to me that's number one priority. Sometimes they say the best athletes are the selfish athletes. That's what
True.
they say. You have to, you have to be really focusing on what you want to happen. So sometimes what you have to sacrifice like personal life. Like during the time, the only people I was, with on a regular would be my teammates.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes in the Filipino culture, your barkada will be like, kakantsawan ka. And they're like, oh, we wanna go to the movies or eat out or whatever. And I'm like, I need to cut weight so I cannot join you. Things like that. So, you want to make sure that it's kind of, I don't know, I don't want to compare it with like military or whatever, but it's kind of like your duty to the country. At least for me, it was.
No, I mean,
And
it is. Kasi,
yes,
like, you're representing the Philippines outside the
yes,
country. So, at the
yes,
same time, yung training pa, oh my God, sa mga, like, alam mo, spector, audience, hindi nila nare-realize yung, ang hirap. Pero gusto mo, ginagawa
yes,
mo eh.
exactly.
You made a great point
And
kanina, na
mm,
great athletes are selfish. Some of it is true. Kasi, kung
yes,
iisipin natin na mabuti, like, I'm gonna put, sorry, another basketball term. If you wanna be the next James Yap, the next Kobe Bryant, the Michael
yes,
Jordans of the world,
yes,
you really have to focus your time on
yes,
improving and be great. And
yes,
it's hard kasi ang din nare-realize ng mga tao yung outcome, yung output, pero hindi nila nare-realize yung the work. They
yes,
don't realize the work is actually the dream.
yes.
Like
True.
yung ginagawa mo ngayon, like yung
Yes,
pagte-training, paggising na umaga, or
yes,
pagpupuyat para i-train yung mga tao, that's the dream.
exactly.
The working is the dream.
Yes, exactly. And you know, mentioning like the results as an athlete, that's probably like one of the worst feelings ever. Like
True.
representing the country and then let's say you lose. Let's say let's start at the positive side. So if you win, everyone's so proud of you. You
True.
maybe get a headline in the newspaper. They mention you on the radio. But then if you lose,
Lahat,
nothing.
lahat ay babato.
'Di ba? So yeah, sometimes you're booed, sometimes they tell you like, "Uy, you represented the country, di ka pala magaling." Things like that,
Diba?
right?
Mm.
So it's devastating to lose, but as an athlete, it's part of the game. We try to, do our very best. All of us, like, most likely are equally went through a difficult phase just to get to the competition, and then not everyone will have the same result. So ayun. For me, like a little message to all the trolls out there.
Yeah. Do
No,
some work.
no, like those people who try to judge. I mean, you can't really, like, to me, you can't really dictate what other people will think about you. But
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, if you're the person on the other end, just try to be understanding as well, because I'm sure, like, you may not be an athlete, but you may have had your own other experiences in life, and people, if you were judged because of that, diba,
True.
you'd feel bad. So, yun lang, hinay-hinay lang with commenting.
Also, hindi rin nare-realize ng mga tao is yung mental fatigue, yung mental
Yes,
uh
absolutely.
uh well-being ng athlete. Kasi
Absolutely.
let's say they win, right? All the praises
Yeah.
nandyan. Pero pag natalo, doon ka makakarinig ng, bobo mo,
Yes.
ba't ka ganun? Ang tanga ng ginawa mo kanina. Sorry nagmura. Pero yun yung
Yes.
reality ng buhay
Yes.
athlete. So,
True.
paano yung yung mental mo nung that time? Kasi I imagine it's
Yes.
not that good. Lalo na pag,
Yes.
you know, nababasa mo sa social media,
Yes.
naririnig mo sa mga radyo, yung mga ganun.
Yes. Um, I was fortunate enough na when I was part of the national team, social media wasn't this big yet.
True.
So it was fine for me, like with my own experience. But of course, like on my end, it was like I knew I failed. So it takes a toll on you. Um what I did was to, take you usually do like you take time out,
Mhm.
just to like recondition yourself. Kasi it's kind of like a relationship, like things didn't work out
True.
and you were like you get devastated about it. And yeah, like that's one absolutely wonderful factor where, our Olympic gold medalist Hidelin, her team is like the complete thing.
Mhm.
And that's basically what all athletes need. Kailangan mo nutrition, you need mental, psychological health. And also you need your coach, your actual coach who does the training. So she's really she is separate from everyone kasi
True.
talagang she has the whole crew with her.
Mm.
And yeah, athletes should be very well aware that it's not just your physical, that the effort that you put in physically. Sometimes you forget you need to eat right, you need to
Mhm.
sleep, you need to, you know, do mental checks and self-care as well. That's, to me, something that people are becoming a lot more aware these days.
That's good.
During my time, my younger days, it wasn't like, it wasn't that discussed. Like, hindi siya masyadong, um, what's the term? It's not really, not like it's not considered, but during the time I was an athlete, it was really more pushing the athletes to eat right and train right. The mental aspect of it, not so much. But yeah, as an athlete as well, you tend to look at things in a different perspective because of training. Like, to me, a good amount of athletes that I've known, I myself as well, it takes a toll on your body, and sometimes you just don't um focus on it too much. But we have a mentality as athletes, like, if I've gone through so much of this difficulty, anything else that's out there, I'm sure I can do it. So
True.
yeah.
Also kung
So
ano ka, ultra competitive,
yes.
like as much as you want to win, as
Yes.
much as uh gusto mong i-dominate yung sports mo,
Mm.
the fact is natutunan mo yung pagkakamali mo para the next time
Yes.
na dumating ulit yung opportunity na yun,
Yes.
for sure kaya mo nang gawin. Kasi gano'n ka
True.
competitive eh. I think
Yes.
yun yung mga misconception din ng mga tao sa pag-athletes is ultra competitive, is like
Yes.
it's all about win win win, dominate dominate. But the fact is, pag ultra competitive ka, kaya mo rin matuto sa pagkakamali mo. Tanggap mo yung
Yes.
pagkatalo mo as much as
True.
hate hate na hate mo. Hate na hate ko matalo.
Yes.
Pero the fact na hate ko yun, at least meron akong self-awareness na okay,
True.
ito yung mali ko, kailangan ko baguhin. Like
Yes.
uh for basketball for example, if kulang ka sa tulog or puyat ka the other night, syempre
Yes.
magta-translate yan to the court. It's either
True.
kakapusing ka or sumosobra naman yung tira mo. The fact is,
Exactly.
magkaroon ka ng self-awareness na although nagtitraining ka all day, 24/7, pero the fact na kulang ka sa tulog,
Yes.
nagta-translate yan sa court. So at least nagkakaroon ng realization na, okay, ito yung mali ko, ito yung babaguhin ko para
True.
mag-improve ako. And it
Yes.
translate outside din sa sports, like
True.
even sa life, if nagkaroon ka ng, let's say, uh, problema sa coworker mo, then find a solution to that.
True. True. I think you're spot on with that. Kasi with athletes, we try to overthink
Mhm.
sometimes. I think that's probably like the correct term. And overthinking is actually not that good when it comes to competing. When you overthink things, that's when you make a mistake.
Yeah.
But also, it's also a very good characteristic of athletes. You know, when you overthink, you try to look at the process, how you were playing, and then you're right. You find if there was a mistake that was done, something that you weren't supposed to do, then you find a solution. Next time that exact thing happens, you know what to do, right? So yeah, that's actually a very a
Kasi
very good realization.
sabi kasi sa akin dati ng coach ko, kapag
Yes.
dumating ulit yung opportunity na yun, tapos hindi mo pa rin nakuha, nasa sa'yo na yun. Kasi tamad ka magtrabaho. Yun yung sinasabi sa akin kasi, um, kapag like, di ko alam kung kukwento ko 'to, pero di ako magaling sa basketball. Disclosure lang, di ako magaling sa basketball. But I was fortunate enough or marunong ako enough to join
Yes.
a basketball league. Then, uh, crucial game yun, I think, yeah, semifinals, do or die.
Oh my
Pinaul ako,
goodness.
pinaul ako, um, all tied.
Oh
Yeah,
my
yeah, yeah, all
gosh.
tie, all tie. Ay, no, no, no. Yeah, so, one na lang, 1 point behind
Oh
nung
my goodness.
kalaban. So, I think, I still remember this vividly. Kasi, ito yung sobrang lala sa akin nun eh. So, it was 86, kami 86, kalaban 87.
Oh
So,
my
I got foul
goodness.
kasi um uh possession na namin yon. Pagkabigay sa akin, na foul ako. Sabi, okay,
Okay.
okay. So, no, no. It was the other way around. I'm sorry. So, 87 kami, 86.
Yes.
Kasi inimagine ko pa ako final. Anyway, yun pala yun. Yun yung situation.
Yes.
Lamang kami. 87,
Okay.
86. Pagkakuha ko sa bola, final ako. I was in the
Okay.
free throw. Nakikita ko, lahat ng mga tao nakatayo. Yeah, teammates ko nakatayo. So, first free throw, wala, nag-ring out. Like,
Oh,
naglinis siya. Like, linis yung
yes,
ring, yung
yes.
ball.
My
Ito
goodness.
pinaka-worst shot. Pagdating ng second free throw, second attempt, air ball. So, yeah. Then, the other possession, obviously, the team scored. The other team scored. We lost. Yung
Oh
sinasabi nilang,
my
panalo
gosh.
sana, talo pa.
Ah.
Dinibdib ko talaga yun. Kasi,
Oh,
like, I shot the biggest shot, 3 points. Malayo
yes.
yun. Pero sa free throw, wala. So, the next the next day, gumising ako 5:30 a.m.
Yes.
Wala akong ginawa kundi free throw lang. Like,
Yes.
mechanics ko, inayos ko yung free throw ko. So, nadala ko siya hanggang ngayon na, so before, kahit pick up game to, I
Yes.
usually start sa free throw. Kasi, when I was younger, before nung game na yun,
Yes.
ang lagi kong warm up, shooting lang, hindi free throw.
Yes.
So, yun yung mali ko nun. So, it translates to real life na if may major debacle, major
Yes.
mistakes kang ginawa,
True.
find that issue, find that problem para
Yes.
masolusyonan mo yan. You know? Kasi
True.
kung competitive ka, hanapin mo ng solution. Kung hindi naman, it will succumb you. The
Yes.
pressure, di ka makakabawi sa pressure.
True.
Like,
True.
yung mga mistakes ng mga athlete na natalo sila, hindi mo na sila
Yes.
maririnig. Kasi nasuccumb na sila sa pressure.
Yes. I think I think you're right about that. Like there will always be just two results to if you fail. Number one is you learn from it and you fight back. And the second one is that you succumb to the depression and you're like,
Mhm.
forget about it. I don't want to do it anymore. Like it becomes like a nightmare for you. Like let's say it was basketball for you. Let's say you had that experience and you were like the next day, I hate basketball. I don't want to play basketball anymore.
True.
So for athletes, I think it's 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 always that way. I've had chances where I competed like like the usual national level. We have different competitions in a year, and I've actually experienced seeing other lifters who let's say I would win gold and then they would win either bronze or silver. You never see them again.
Whoa.
Yes, I've had chances like that. And let's just say I'm one of the younger lifters who's still competing. Well, hindi ako makapag-compete right now because I'm in a different country.
Mm.
But if I were in the Philippines, if I go home to the Philippines and there's a competition, I'll probably compete. But the thing is, like that's how it is. It's either you accept the fact that I'm an athlete, I will try to improve, and this will be my you know something that's part of my life until I'm old,
True.
or you're like you win one, you lose one competition and you're like forget about it. I didn't win gold, ayaw ko na.
True. And I think
So
yun din yung mga misconception ng mga tao. I
yes,
know I've mentioned a lot about misconception, but importante kasi i-brought up na
yes,
kapag sinabi nila na natalo ka, ba't ka magko-compete
yes,
pa? Hindi nila nare-realize kasi
yes,
athlete ka, competitive ka eh. Gusto
yes,
mong attest yung sarili mo sa ibang tao
true,
kung asang
true,
level ka na ba. Although you can compete for yourself kung asan na
yes,
ba yung kaya mo, it's much more like para sa akin um nakaka-feel ng
yes,
pagkatao ko once na nakita ko or nagkikipag-compete ako sa ibang tao. I don't know
yes,
why. Siguro ganun talaga ako competitive pero hindi ko siya kaya
yes,
alam mo yung mga like sinasabi sa akin ng mga gym trainer or gym coach
yes,
na importante i i-compete mo ang sarili mo para malaman mo kung asa ka na. The fact
yes.
is, hindi ko kasi kaya kung wala akong like katabi, ka-compete
Mhm.
sa pagte-treadmill, sa pagwo-workout,
Yes,
sa pagle-lifting, sa
yes,
pagka-crunch. As long as wala akong katabi or kasama na nakikipag-compete,
yes.
wala talaga.
So your motivation is other people. It
Siguro,
depends. Yeah, it depends. Like there's athletes who thrive in like focusing on one other person and making sure they beat that person. There's I think that's still a healthy way of
I hope
motivating
so.
yourself. No, like seriously, kasi we all will need to find our own types of motivation, right? So for me, come to think of it, you mentioned like, you know, you lost while you're still competing.
Mm.
Me, during my entire career as a taekwondoin, I never made national team and I never had a gold medal. I was always silver. And my coach was always like, it really depends on how, I don't know. Sometimes you have your own realizations that I need to prove myself wrong.
True.
That whatever I did in this competition, I know I can do better. But unfortunately, my competitor also has the same mentality. So, kumbaga, parang pagalingan na lang talaga. And
True.
at the end of the day, you cannot really scold yourself or be mad at yourself because you did your best. I think the only reason for athletes to feel bad if you lost to somebody else is because you didn't give it all you got. I think to me as an athlete, that's that's your main purpose. Whatever sport that is. If it's a team sport, if it's an individual sport, you train to get there. Doesn't matter how many minutes you perform. In powerlifting, we only have like less than a minute. Sometimes you just do 10 seconds in the platform and you screw up. That's fine. It's part of the process. It's part of you growing into a better athlete. If there are other athletes that are better than you, then make sure next time when you're competing with them, make sure that you're at par. You make sure that you do the training that's meant for you to overtake. Ganun lang
True.
siya, kasimple. So, yeah, I think a lot of people really do have a lot of misconceptions with athletes. And it really is important for others to think out of the box. Like athletes are human too.
True.
We have our own difficulties in life. It just so happens that we're very focused and we're very interested in something that you can't really shake it eh. if
True.
if you're if you love a sport like every other. That's why I understand Filipinos and their love for basketball. I was also, like a young girl who like watching people play basketball. My brother was part of varsity in Ateneo as well. So I know how it feels. And yeah, the spirit of an athlete is it's it's hard to explain all the different concepts that surround it. But people should really not just look at an athlete as is
Mm-hmm.
because they have other things that go on in their lives, and there are other things that really push them to perform at their best. Maybe it's their family, maybe it's the help of their coach. They want to make sure that what help their coach gave them, they are able to translate. So it all really depends, and people I think should be more. You're right. People should be more in tune to the journey that got them there, right? So
Yeah.
yeah.
Also, um, before we move on to this topic, kasi gusto ko gusto ko rin talaga, but before we move on, I think hindi rin nila nare-realize na kapag naglalaro ka,
Yes.
ah, kung whatever sports it may be, kung naglalaro ka, that's your meditating space. That's
Yes.
your like um heaven kumbaga kasi
Yes.
wala kang iniisip kundi yung sports na nilalaro mo. Like for me, basketball, sobrang focus mo sa laro. Like yung kahit may mga problema ka
Yes.
outside the sports that you're in, kapag nandoon ka sa
True.
sports mo na naglalaro ka, wala kang
True.
iniisip kundi strategies,
Yes.
ways para makascore or
Yes.
manalo, that sort of thing. It helps you kahit papaano di mo maisip yung problemang yun. And
True.
for the mental aspects naman, laking tulong din siya kasi
Yes.
instead na di-drown mo sarili mo sa problems, at least may other outlets ka
True.
to outburst it.
Yes. Yes, I will attest. that that is true for me as well. I always my gosh. Ito naman ako, I will tap a little on my personal issues, but
Okay lang yan,
I
go.
I I fondly remember that whenever I had like trouble with a breakup or whatever that was, heartache, or with women, it's that way. There's a certain age range where you're like that, and during that time I was always competing. So I found it like, yes, it consoled me whenever I lifted, you know. I was like, okay, you know, I broke up with somebody, so dito ko na lang bubuhos lahat ng galit ko. Like, instead of, I think it's a brilliant way to, refocus your mind if you have so many problems that you think you cannot resolve. I think being able to play a sport or whatever activity it is that you want to, pour your heart and soul into, at least, diba, you have that. It's kind of a self-care ritual.
Mhm.
I'm sure other athletes as well are like that. You have different troubles that are happening behind the scenes while you train. But to us, training will always be like, it's something that's within our control. It's something that, you know, it's something that will not leave us.
True.
It might break our heart kind of deal, right? So
True.
yeah. So yeah, I think that's also a good way to express it and to explain it to everyone else. So yeah.
True. Um, Pinag-usapan din namin 'to nung former guest ko, previous
Yes.
guest ko, I mean, si,
Mhm.
Shelani De Vera. So,
Yes.
model and fitness enthusiast.
Yes.
The importance of working out. Kasi,
Yes.
ah, hindi rin nare-realize ng mga tao na kapag sinabing workout,
Yes.
hindi yung 24 hours ka sa gym, ano, yung si-sit-ups ka
Yes.
araw-araw,
Yes.
mga gano'n. Like, magsi-sit-ups ka for 1 hour, mga gano'n. Um,
Mhm.
we talk about the importance of working out in terms
Yes.
of the mental health and the
Yes.
physical health of
Yes.
of a person. So, let's try and break those things. Kapag nagwo-workout, 'di ba hindi naman talaga kailangan magkaroon ng gym, 'di ba po, coach?
Yes. That is absolutely true. That's one of my mantras as an online coach. When I was transitioning from in-person coaching to online coaching, I was telling myself, okay, during the time nung nagsimula tong paggawa ko ng content, I was like, okay, I cannot be with someone in person. So we won't have a gym. So I have to think of a way for others to enjoy a workout even if they're not in a gym, they don't have a gym membership, they don't have equipment. So what are the things that I can do to help them out? So that's where I came about with my YouTube channel. That was the first sort of project of mine.
Mhm.
So you don't have a gym? No problem. This is what you do. So yes, I do agree with you. You don't need the gym to be able to, make sure that you become healthier, you become fitter. People just make excuses that I have
That
to
is
be
true.
in the gym. Na, 'di ba? I'm sure, like, because people think that if you're not in a gym setting, you won't have the motivation to do it.
Mhm.
For me, I think that's why when I work with people, I want to make sure that they're in it because of their why. Bakit ka nandito? Why are you wanting to make a change in your life? That's always crucial when you want to become better. Because sometimes you will make all the different excuses out there.
True.
I don't have time. I'm very busy. I'm not a gym member. I don't have equipment. You can think of all the excuses. My favorite motto that came from my coach, Sir Ayan, my taekwondo coach. And I will never forget the statement. Kung gusto mo, maraming paraan. Kung ayaw mo, maraming
You
dahilan.
damn right.
Yes, right? So, I've never really been able to translate it in English. Well, I have translated it in English, pero parang mas maganda yung pagkasabi if it's in Filipino. So yeah, like people should be well aware that there are so many avenues, especially now. We have technology. You have so many resources out there that will help you. Like you just type in Google, right?
True.
Google. Or you can ask Alexa, Alexa, what workout can I do? I don't have gym equipment. You can easily access that information now. And so, yeah, you're right. The importance of working out and the term working out, I don't really like that. So what I
Why?
use is movement. Hindi, kasi people tend to, when you say workout, let's say I approach someone, you want to
Mm-hmm.
work out? Sometimes they will tell you, I don't want to work out. I don't want to exercise. So I try to kind of touch things into something that's a little more approachable.
Mm,
So what
okay,
I tell
okay.
people is what I consider or what I would always suggest to people is try to be physically active. You can walk, you can swim. If you're a dancer, you can dance forever, like 1, 2 hours, right? So if you like meditation, you can do yoga or Pilates. There are so many different things that you can do. That's not just a workout. Kasi sometimes people have that idea that when you mention workout or exercising, yun nga, they think that they have to go to a gym. So
True.
that's why when I talk with people, it's like just be physically active. There's so many different ways for you to do it. And you don't have to exercise. You
True.
can, do other things that are available to you. So, hindi
Ano
tayo
yung mga,
namimili.
sorry to cut you off.
Yes,
Na-curious
it's
lang
okay.
ako. Um,
Yes,
ano yung mga workouts? Ano yung
yes,
mga routines na pwede mo gawin sa bahay? Para kahit pa paano, may idea
yes.
sila.
Okay. So, the simplest that you can do if you're at home and you have a chair, squat. Okay, my favorite. So, if you're not into going to the gym and you're not very familiar, a squat is technically you from a seated position in a chair, standing up and sitting back down and standing back up. So, diba?
Oo.
So, that's the simplest way. And then, let's say you want to work on push-ups. Okay? Pero hindi pa ganun kalakas yung upper body mo. What you can do is to, like for me, one of the exercises that I like to teach is you get a towel,
Mhm.
short towel, long towel, whichever.
Ay,
And then
wait, sorry. Meron akong towel.
yes.
So,
Ayan. Yes. Either a short
go.
towel, a long towel, a shirt, okay? Hold on to the
Mhm.
ends of that. All right? Grip it properly. And then what you can do is lie down on the floor, which you cannot do. So, ang gagawin mo
Oo.
lang is you imagine like doing a bench press
Oh,
with the
wow.
towel. So that's actually a good way. You can do it standing up even. That's actually a boxing variation. So, wag mo lang tatamaan yung mic mo. Pero yes, ayan din. Like, an overhead press is also a good way. So, you take different, already there household items. You can actually just reimagine it into a barbell, into a dumbbell. So, that's technically how I help people make sure that they're still physically active even if they're at home or even wherever they are if they're traveling you know And of course, there's still the usual crunches and planks and sit-ups and all of that. But yeah, so there are so many options out there, and people should just really be more open-minded.
True.
Sometimes when they think of out of gym activities, or if it's a workout not in the gym, they think it's not effective. That's not true. As long as you have the right program, you have the right exercises or the right movements for you, kasi dapat personalized yung programming, you know, there will always be a chance of you improving. So, yeah.
Lalo na especially kapag, you know, um, may sakit ka sa puso or may
Yes.
something, may illness ka, kung ano man
True.
yun, I
Yes.
think doing simple workouts, so simple routines,
Yes.
sobrang laking tulong yan sa health
True.
mo. Kasi
Yes.
lalo na dito sa Pilipinas, lalo na sobrang
Yes.
init ngayon, uso
Correct.
dyan heat stroke, also
Yes,
stroke,
exactly.
and people don't realize
Yes.
stroke and heart attack is a silent killer.
Yes.
Like,
That's
kahit
true.
tingin mo or yung physique mo, hindi ka
Yes.
mataba, mapayat
Yes.
ka. No, no, no.
Yes.
It's not about that. It's not about
True.
mataba, mapayat ka. It's about
Yes.
yung kung gaano kalakas yung puso mo. And
True.
working out helps that.
Exactly, exactly. And you're right about that. You cannot judge a person's health by how they look like on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes if you have someone who's like maybe thinner than the other person, then you find out the not so thin one is healthier than the thinner person, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's all about also making sure that you check with your doctor as well. Kailangan you're always um updated with your own health through going to your doctor. As a trainer, that's also a way for us to know if we can work with you. So yeah, you have to be able to also check on yourself. Like it's not just you being physically active that will make you healthier.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes things are already out of your control. You really need a doctor.
Yeah.
So minsan kasi I've had experiences where a client will come to me and it's like, "Oh, I have this." We I can help you definitely. We can lose all that weight. Yes. But I need your doctor's approval first, right?
True.
So, hindi like trainers cannot like to me, I hope some trainers get to watch this. Like trainers, we will always think that we can help you. But the younger trainers, please make sure that your clients are like in best bill of health at least to train. Or if not, don't push them to the limit where they're like almost having a seizure or a heart attack,
True.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Kasi sometimes what also happens is we live in an Instagram world. People think like, oh, if I do this exercise, because I saw it on Instagram, you know, I can also do it. Not necessarily. Sometimes if you see like people lifting this much weight, you try it out. What happens? Instead of you getting, bulk, getting all that muscle, getting leaner, na injury yung tuhod mo or your
True.
back suddenly gave out. So, there should also be enough care for trainers out there and also maybe influencers or athletes to also let others know that they can do it. Yeah, everyone can exercise, everyone can be healthier, but also be mindful of how you say it. Kasi sometimes, people these days, if we want to become healthier, we want to become fitter, we always want things snap of a finger.
Instantly,
That
yeah.
can't be that can't be done. Like
Uh,
literally. I will not be in the position of still being a coach if that were like so easy.
true.
No, it's not. There's always a process to it. There's always progress that has to happen. There's always, you know, times that it's very difficult. It's not easy. You have to go through the process. So like everyone else.
And
Yeah.
also, the the important point here is your
Yes.
mental health. Kasi hindi
True.
rin nare-realize sa mga tao na um working out really helps your mental well-being.
Exactly.
Kasi hindi man physical physique or hindi mo man nararamdaman, pero the way na yung iniisip mo instead na problems or overthink
Yes.
overthinking problems or
True.
overthinking future mo, working out helps you reduce yan kasi magfo-focus ka to your core, like to
Yes.
your lalo na kapag nag total workout ka,
Yes.
yung mental well space mo para ka nagme-meditate na naka-focus ka lang
Exactly.
sa form
Yes.
mo, naka-focus ka
Yes.
lang na sana hindi to bibigay. Parang gano'n.
True. 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 That's absolutely correct. One of the best after effects of working out or exercising or being physically active, I'm sure a lot of people already know this, but I will say it again. It's when you you develop endorphins, the happy hormones. So
Mhm.
that is actually increased when you exercise, especially kung yung exercise mo is continuous. That's why a lot of people in the Philippines got very into marathon running.
Oh,
The fun
wow.
runs,
Mhm.
yes, a lot of people got into that because runners high. So
'Di ko alam
it's
'yun.
yes,
Wow, okay.
our bodies mechanics does that. When we do an activity that's repetitive, walking, swimming, running, so our endorphins it increases. So that's why after we work out, we're in a better mood.
Oh, wow. The
So yun,
'Di ko alam 'yung
that's
sa runner's high. And
you
I've
know
heard
that's
about it,
yun,
pero
yes.
hindi ko alam na paano ba 'yung runner's high? Like, gusto ko malaman.
Well, sometimes when you talk with someone who does like
Mhm.
actual marathon running, they say it's kind of like reaching a peak of a mountain. And then when you get there, you feel really, really happy about it. That's how
Oh,
they explain it.
wow.
So, yeah.
Okay. Um, your your time there in
Yes.
Canada, like
Mhm.
yung ginagawa mo ngayon,
Yes.
um, do you like help other people like in person na? Kasi hindi na masyado
Yes.
strict diyan. Also,
Mhm.
you have clientele who are, um, have a specific workout. Like,
Yes.
paano yung process nun? Like for example, approach kita na, Raya, I wanna do this,
Yes.
I wanna lose weight. So,
Yes.
paano yun?
Okay. Well, as a coach right now, I do a lot of my personal training or doing programs for my clients online. So I can still do in person,
Mhm.
but right now I'm solely focusing on online training. What I do is I assess the client first. So I ask you a series of questions. We do technically like an interview. What is it that you want to change? What are your goals? You have injuries? Have you had previous experiences training? What was it like, training with another coach? Things like that. So that's how I begin the process. And then when I get all the information, that's where I create a program, I normally have a 12-week program per client, and it's specifically made for them. So I have they get access to a movement vault. I provide them with the list of exercises that they can do on their own as well. So, and I also make sure that I work with them at least once a week. You know, you get to talk to them and kind of like debrief or decompress and, you know, ask them, how are you? Were you able to do all the exercises? Was there an exercise that we need to change? Things like that. So it's still pretty much the same as working with someone in person. It's just that, you know, the access is, I think, a lot easier because at least you don't need to travel. You
True.
know, you're in a safe space in at home or wherever you are. So yeah.
Before I let you go, um,
Yes.
gusto ko tanungin 'to. Um,
True.
Kumusta
Sige.
buhay Filipino diyan sa Canada? Like,
Yes.
kumusta yung
Um,
experience? Gaano ka na
yes.
po katagal diyan? A year na, 'no?
Um, yes, just a little over a year.
Alright. So,
I,
how's your
yeah,
experience na?
malamig pa rin.
Dito
No,
mainit.
yes, yes. I know, like, I've always told myself when I got here, when I got here, it was peak of winter time.
Oh,
So
wow, ang sarap nun.
I was telling my then boyfriend, I'm like, I am going to die because it's so cold. Hindi, kasi for us, um, when the temperature reaches around 8 degrees, ang ganda, 'di ba? Like Tagaytay or Baguio, whatever weather over there. It's nice, right? You can manage. Over here in Saskatchewan, we have negative 40 degrees Celsius.
God damn.
I know, right? So
Wow.
so yes, exactly. So for me, that's probably like the only thing that I will ever hate here. But of course, other locals here, they're like, we hate the winter too. So don't worry about that. But yeah, for me, living here in Canada, it's been a blessing. I've learned so much from getting to know other people online because I'm here and I am not in the Philippines. You know, I think I don't really get to talk with family and friends as much as I can because I try to busy myself with work.
Mhm.
I don't want to, you know, be sentimental and be sad about, you know, being away from the people I love. But yeah, you know, being here has been a blessing. I've learned so much, not just about the work that I do, but also about myself. And yeah, like I mentioned a while ago, I'm very fortunate that, you know, Filipinos here in Canada are very accommodating. As always, we're very, you know, welcoming to
Mhm.
other Filipinos. And yeah, I just find myself really lucky and really blessed to, you know, smooth sailing.
Before I really let you go,
Yes.
um, may advice ka bang maibibigay for aspiring Filipinos who wants to
Yes.
go to Canada or not even Canada,
Yes.
umalis sa
From the
Pilipinas just
Philippines.
to explore new
Yes.
things, uh,
Yes.
do the work that they want? Do you have any advice for them?
Yes. For other Filipinos out there who, you know, are not like me, I hope. Didn't have it planned. No, for other Filipinos who want to give it a try to go in another country, one thing you should always think about is don't feel bad that you know, leaving other people behind because sometimes, like I always um express to my own clients, and it's also one of my mantras. Sometimes you have to be 100%. You cannot really share yourself to others if you're not okay. So if you're wanting to leave the country and find yourself, go and do it. Don't be guilty about it. because you have to be you first before you can, lovingly care and help others. So, yeah, that's my thing. Huwag kayong mag-guilty. Just do it. Just, if you have the opportunity, grab it. So, yeah.
And that's the perfect way to end this podcast. Um, saan ka nila
Thank
makikita,
you,
Raya?
Nick. Yes, I am in almost every social media platform. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I'm on YouTube. It's RK Moves Daily. So you can just search for me there, and you can also add me on Facebook if you'd like. My name is Raya Karel in Facebook. So yeah.
So with that being said, thank you so much
Yes.
for coming.
Thank
Um,
you also for having me. It was such a great time.
thank you. I mean, nag-enjoy talaga ako kapag may mga guests ako na
Yes.
from Filipino na nasa
Yes.
ibang bansa kasi they have a very, very unique stories and thankful ako dahil share mo yun dito sa podcast. I really appreciate it. I really do.
No, no problem. It was great, being here. Hopefully, we'll see each other again soon.
Yup,
You never know.
yup. So with that being said,
Alright.
peace out
Thank
people.
you. Bye-bye.
They tell me that I'm never gonna make it. They want me to do something that could make sense. They hate when I keep dreaming I'll be famous, but I don't give a fuck, I'ma keep chasing. I got all this potential that's deep inside of me, but they hate when you're successful cause they try to be. They sit there being judgmental because you're trying things, and they just want you to settle and do the right thing. So get a good job, don't slack off. Wake up every morning, make a good impression on your boss. Don't do anything that I wouldn't do, and when you're making money, make sure you don't spend it too soon. Fuck that, I'll do what I wanna do. I got a different path from everyone, and that includes you. Who are you to tell me how to live life? In these times it feels like nobody's right, yeah. So I'ma figure out what else we succeed, and then invest all of my time into that and proceed. I need whatever the hell could make me happy, and I don't think you have a clue what could that be. They tell me that I'm never gonna make it. They want me to do something that can make sense. They hate when I keep dreaming I'll be famous, but I don't give a fuck, I'ma keep chasing. They tell me that I'm never gonna make it. They want me to do something that can make sense. They hate when I keep dreaming I'll be famous, but I don't give a fuck, I'ma keep chasing. I think this life could be special if I get rid of the devils. They think that I am a rebel, I think they want me to settle. There's nobody on my level, they think that work is too stressful. I think that work is essential, the grind is all in your mental. And I don't think you understand what I'll go through just to be in control of my life soon. All the negativity, man, I'm immune. I don't really need a mask with all I've been through. I've been making changes for the ages. 5-10 year plans are contagious. I attack that shit, I'm tenacious. And if you ain't, get the fuck out of my way then. Got one life, I won't regret it. I will fight until I get it. I'll look back one day from heaven and say, damn, I learned some lessons. And say, damn, I have no questions. I had fun in every second, and the journey was a blessing, yeah. They tell me that I'm never gonna make it. They want me to do something that